Good morning and welcome to Rising. We have a great show for you today. Happy Monday and thanks for tuning in. Nice to see you again, Lindsay. How was your vacation?
It was nice, but I'm still happy off this Benito Bowl that we watched yesterday, okay? I'm still dancing and doing my salsa dance.
Well, we're going to...
Don't say who. Don't even play games. I like that you didn't say who.
Say who what?
Last time I said Bad Bunny was performing, you said who?
Oh, I am familiar.
So now you're familiar.
I watched it and we will discuss it a little bit.
How was your weekend?
Busy. Way too many birthday parties, I guess. This is the popular time of the year for that. It was the coldest, most awful weekend ever, and I kept getting dragged out of my apartment. I just wanted to stay home, but it was very fun.
I was going to say you're a good friend for showing up in this cold weather.
Yes, indeed.
Coming up on Rising, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard is responding to claims that she hid a whistleblower complaint after new details about it surfaced.
Plus, the search for Nancy Guthrie, the mother of NBC anchor Savannah Guthrie, continues.
And as many of you know, Bad Bunny performed at the big game yesterday, and President Trump didn't seem too happy about it. What's new? But first, Robby, what's on your radar?
Well, the alleged survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes are speaking up, and they are not satisfied with the release of the Epstein files thus far. Surprise, surprise. Millions of pages of documents were released a week ago. These files contain emails and also uncorroborated investigative documents, and they're having a profound impact. Friends, associates, and even casual acquaintances of Epstein who are named in the files are under pressure to resign from their jobs. Now, obviously, anyone who engaged in the sexual abuse of children should not merely lose their job, they should go to prison. But that's the problem, isn't it? The files inform our understanding of the very bad judgment of some high-profile people who kept in contact with Epstein: Bill Gates, Steve Bannon, Peter Mandelson, but they do not provide evidence of sex crimes committed by anyone other than Epstein himself. And so, the so-called survivors want the federal government to release even more files. In a new PSA released on Super Bowl Sunday, they assail Attorney General Pam Bondi for dragging her feet, not releasing more files, and failing to prosecute Epstein associates who raped children. Let's watch part of that.
After years of being kept apart, we're standing together.
Standing together.
Because this girl deserves the truth.
Because she deserves the truth.
Because we all deserve the truth.
Now, I'm the last person to defend Pam Bondi, who has botched virtually every aspect of the Epstein files release, mostly by overpromising and then underdelivering. Remember when she said the client list was on her desk and would be released shortly? Well, there is no client list. That's because Epstein himself is the sexual abuser. There's no evidence, none whatsoever, that he trafficked little girls to other rich and powerful men. There's ample evidence he himself had sex with teenage girls and was rightly prosecuted for it. And then he went right back to it after his incredibly lenient sentence. But these files do not show what the Epstein conspiracy theorists have insisted, that Epstein was in charge of a cabal of elite pedophiles. Now, these victims say there were other men involved and that they want Pam Bondi to take action. Okay. Well, forgive me for asking the obvious. Why do you, the victims, need the government to release more of their uncorroborated records? Why can't you just tell us who the other perpetrators are? Is it just me, or is anyone else getting tired of this? I want the truth, and the survivors are the ones who have it. We don't need the government files. Just tell us. By the way, the problem with the government files now has become perfectly obvious. Investigators wrote up all sorts of outlandish reports from crazy people, as is their job. These accusations are in the Epstein files, but they are utterly without merit and without proof. They're gossip, slander, and now they're causing people to lose their jobs. Honestly, I'm forced to concede. President Trump had a point when he said, releasing all these files is going to result in a lot of people who had absolutely nothing to do with Epstein getting embarrassed. It's going to result in a feeding frenzy of misleading or outright false accusations. The belief that there are many other wealthy people, friends of Epstein, who preyed on children for sex and paid Epstein to procure the kids, it's just that, it's a belief. It's not supported by any evidence we're seeing. Frankly, the people who are still looking for that evidence, who are convinced it's out there somewhere, they seem to have partisan motivations, by which I mean they're mostly Democrats who are convinced that eventually they'll find evidence that Trump was complicit in Epstein's crimes. They won't find any evidence of that. They won't find evidence the Clintons were involved either. I'm highly doubtful they'll find much evidence that anyone else was involved either. Now, I'm happy to be proven wrong, and if I'm wrong, I hope I'm proven wrong. let's lock these abusers behind bars. But if the previous 3 million pages of documents are any indication, we will not find evidence, solid evidence, that anyone other than Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, Jean-Luc Brunel were complicit in sexual abuse. And 2 of those people are dead, and the 3rd is already in prison. So if this isn't case closed, then I think it is actually time for the alleged victims to tell us who else was involved. Tell us directly, not using innuendo or veiled references, not by beseeching the government to tell us more of what we already know. If you feel you've been silenced, then please unmute yourself. So we didn't really get to talk last week, because you were out of town, about what I'm describing now as this files release fiasco.
Yeah.
I don't know, Lindsay. I think I've changed my mind completely. What was the point of this? These millions of pages of documents naming people in a context having almost nothing to do with Epstein, and now people are losing their jobs, and it's a witch hunt. There's no evidence in any of what they've released of sexual abuse of children by anyone other than Jeffrey Epstein himself. And that's what I was promised. Remember, cabal of elite pedophiles? What happened to that? There's no evidence. Now you're telling me, these victims are telling me, oh, that they're still keeping back the other stuff. I don't believe this anymore.
So both things can be true, right? You can request the victims. I thought your request to the victims, if they are able to speak, they name the people that they want to accuse of these crimes, name them. I agree with that. But I also think keeping pressure on the Department of Justice, which is now legally required to release the rest of the documents, is also imperative. They released 3 million, but there also are 3 million more. We know there are 6 million total. And this is an organization that released the ad during the Super Bowl or around the Super Bowl so that people can pay attention to this and not let off the gas. I think that they're well within their right to do that. They literally acquire funds to fight for sex trafficking cases like this one. And so it's an organization that put all their money behind the most and maximum amount of eyeballs seeing this. And so I'm not going to look at the victims and say, why are you taking part of this conversation? Because they are this conversation. It's the biggest conversation about possible sex trafficking, particularly regarding children, that we've ever had in this country probably. And people want to know the connections. So when you ask about, outside of them naming who may also be involved, because I'd love to hear that. It doesn't need to be Clinton. It doesn't need to be Trump. Who else may be involved? We know banks were involved with a lot of the money that was being pushed around, and that's why they were sued.
But I'm not interested in the money. No. I don't want to know the money. No, I was told.
You don't want to know.
You said possible sex trafficking of children. There is no evidence of that.
Right. So
it's like possible alien attack. Maybe there's alien attack evidence in these files. Possible theory. I'm sick of that. No one would accept this in any other context. It's just BS.
There are some big reasons why I think releasing all 6 million documents matter. There are people that are getting named randomly that are also getting offended, like Russell Wilson, who's like, wait, I almost bought a plane from Jeffrey Epstein. I didn't even know it was his plane. Why am I in here? But you want to identify who potential co-conspirators might be. That's essential. That's the whole point of releasing all the files. Let the public see them. And yes, the victim should say whomever else they think needs to be prosecuted. You also want to understand why he operated with impunity for so many years. That's a question that maybe you're done with, but a lot of people want to understand why he was given so little time and why he operated in the way he did freely. And the third thing is that you want to restore public trust.
That question is already answered.
You want to restore public trust in institutions. People think that many institutions failed miserably by allowing Jeffrey Epstein to operate in the way that he did. And so the way to restore public trust for the American people that do want to see this, and the bipartisan representatives, Massey and Ro Khanna, that are calling for this, well, then they're asking for it too. It's not just Democrats. It's not just Republicans. People want to see this. So you're just saying that this is Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like, these are all different people from all perspectives across the aisle.
People aren't satisfied that the earth is not flat. I don't care at this point. If you're going to make extreme claims, at some point the burden is on you to present a shred of evidence to substantiate.
So no part of this feels a little bit cover-uppy. When we just saw, CBS was reporting in one of the documents that an orange-colored shape was moving through the staircase towards his isolated cell.
Orange-colored shape?
Yes, so obviously another inmate in a jumpsuit. They said no one was in Jeffrey Epstein's cell the night that he was killed. But now there's documents that are written down, official documents that completely contradict what we were told.
You're shifting. You're doing.
We're not shifting. No, we're not. We're
that's
asking
about his death. I was told.
Yes, but if it's a cover-up and you're trying to cover up all the details, that's one part of it. It shouldn't sit well with you that we're being lied to.
That he procured children for elites to have sex with. There's no evidence.
Across the board.
Zero.
Everyone wants to know.
Zero.
all the information they can about Jeffrey Epstein.
The evidence of that is as compelling as
died.
the evidence that he was a space invader.
No, was he part of a sex trafficking ring? Was he working with foreign governments? Why he was able to operate with impunity?
Are you a part of a sex trafficking ring? There's no evidence of that. So at some point you're just saying
no. I never got. I'm not
things.
a convicted pedophile. What are you saying?
Well, okay, but I'm not. But Epstein himself is guilty. That is not in contention. But we were told that he was trafficking girls to other people, and that has no. There's no evidence. There's nothing.
So then just release the other 3 million documents and we'll be done with it. Clinton said they'll testify in a public hearing, so let Trump testify, and then everyone can be done with it.
Something tells me that 3 million more pages of documents will not satisfy any of the people.
I don't know why you want to brush off the claims that I just mentioned, that we were being lied to about the way he may have died possibly. That sounds like a cover-up to me. And then why? You said you're interested in the possible foreign government connection. That's the one piece you might be interested in. So why can't I lump that all into one that is the case of Jeffrey Epstein? Like, why do you not want to have these answers?
The central Epstein contention was cabal of pedophiles who were raping children procured by Jeffrey Epstein. He was the head of that. That's what we were told. It is not true, or at least there's no evidence of it. And that is a notable fact in the discussion of this case because it was a very salacious, scandalous accusation.
New details this morning about that purported highly classified complaint against Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. We'll be right back.